Hello, everybody. Today is May 10th, 2014, and this is episode 3 of season 3 of Beacon 147. It is time to get the show on the road. Hello, everybody. My name is Thomas, and joining me tonight we have
Bobby, a.k.a. Gradius. How you guys doing?
Brandon, how you guys doing?
Well, welcome back, everyone, for another fantastic episode today, being guest-directed by somebody, but we'll leave that for another time. There's a lot of great news to talk about in the world of Star Citizen, craft, if you will. So let's go ahead and get started. So, Bobby, you were talking about some stuff that you read today, or that seemed pretty interesting regarding the dogfighting module. Why don't you share that with us?
All right. So this is information that not a lot of people have read yet, probably, because it was just posted yesterday, and a lot of people are probably catching up, whatever. But they have announced kind of how they're going to release access to the dogfighting module.
Yes, and it seems that they're going to be doing it by a number system, if I'm correct on that. Why don't you elaborate a bit on that?
Contrary to popular belief on Reddit and people who immediately jump to conclusions, it is not based on how much money you have spent. It is. Yes. No, they're going to be releasing access to the dogfighting module based on your citizen number.
All right. Now since we all happen to have various means of getting it, let's see. Mine is 11 something, so 111,000 and change. So
what a coincidence, because mine is 11 and then some numbers after that. I think it's like 113,000 and some change.
I'll be in line the longest. It's 269.
Oh. But here's the thing about that.
Okay.
One, it's getting people into the DFM based on when they joined the whole program, which is cool. It's cool. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't matter how much stuff you bought. You could be number one in line with an Aurora and you get in because you were there at the very beginning. And I think it's cool because effectively they're doing it based on your position in line, when you bought the game, or when you reserved or pre-ordered, if you will, the game. So I think it works out.
Yeah. So let's take a look at where you can see this. Oh, that's the wrong camera. There we go. I think I'm in the right camera now. All right. So what you would do is you would log into your account, and then just simply go to your profile. So just click your little
citizen dossier.
And in there, it will show you what your number is.
Your UEE citizen record.
Yep. So I think, what were you, Bobby? 113,000?
I'm 113,170.
I am 113,175.
Wait.
You got in before
I get in before you?
Yes, a whole 5 people in front of me. You will be.
You know what, though? I'm going to laugh if there's a cutoff between releases and it's at like 113,172.
I'm making a gesture with my hand. You can't see the finger, but the finger is there. But it'll be fun. It'll be interesting. I'm guessing that, though, with as many people that have backed, and what's that number up to? Have we crested?
No, it's like, wasn't
milestones?
it like 450,000, 500,000, something like that?
I mean,
we're out of alpha slots.
Yeah, so it's 400. So, they're up to 446,000 and change. So we're in the top, the top quarter or so. And so Brandon's in the top half.
We'll probably get into like one of, I don't know if they're going to dump 100,000 people in the first release.
Well, so. I mean, I'm just saying, I still think that certain people that carry a certain tag should get in from jump, but hey, that's just me.
What?
I'm just saying.
Oh, you're one of those people.
I am one of those people. One of those cut in front of the line type people. VIP valet concierge type people.
I paid for the pass. Let me through.
The speed pass.
Yeah. Use my toll tag.
There you go.
But anyway, so that's actually, as much as I kid around about it, I think that is the fairest way to do it. And they've done a lot of things that have catered toward, concierge level people and space marshal level people. And it's good that this is a fundamental milestone in release. This is as close to the game as we've gotten. The Hangar module is awesome and great, but this is the actual real first gameplay element of the game where you're actually doing something more than walking around.
Yeah.
And there's no better way to do that than the ticket number you got when you entered the door. It doesn't matter how much you're spending, whether you bought the collector's edition of Halo or the boxed edition of Halo. If you pick it up first and throw it in your machine, you're on.
You're on and playing. Yeah.
I think that's the best way to do it. So good for them. I mean, I would like to get it because I'm Space Marshal, but still, I'm happy with that. I think it's fair.
Yeah.
So, what else, Bobby?
Well, that was all of that information that I found for that was posted by Ben in a forum post, but I think they've since done an announcement on the website, right, Brandon? Is that what they?
Yeah.
Okay, that's where you read it, right?
Yeah, it was done by Chris Roberts. Who knows if it was him personally who wrote it, but
okay,
it's got his name on it. But yeah, they were talking about like they'll be scaling to 250,000 plus players is much more likely launching a finished game as opposed to pre-alpha, is what he said.
Okay,
so a good chunk of people will probably be getting in when they first release it anyway. So
does that mean that the trailing 200,000 aren't good? I'm just making sure I heard you right. Does that mean like the trailing 200,000 aren't going to get into the DFM?
No, they're staged at scaling, so they're gonna have like 250,000 at start. Is by the wording, that's how it sounds to me. So
that's pretty.
So we're okay.
I don't want Thomas getting in at the same time as me. Did I say that out loud?
I've got plenty of other things that I could be doing. I'm juggling. I've got plenty of things I can do. If I have to wait a day, 2, or even a week, I think I will only bitch this much. I mean, when I say this much, I mean this much. But I'll probably really only bitch that much.
I'll just make sure to be the guy that's hanging out in your TeamSpeak channel going, "Oh man, this is so awesome! Oh,
globally mute. Problem solved."
Oh my goodness!
He has the power. He's not afraid to use it.
Yeah. Bobby has the same power. I don't know if I can globally mute. All right, another exciting thing that came out, and it's really not that exciting. It's more of an interesting thing, but some people may be excited about it. The ship status page has been updated. There's a lot more information on it now. I'm going to switch over if I can hit the right camera. Yay, I did!
There are so many ships on here that I've yet to even hear of.
Yes, some of these are really awesome. We've seen that the M50 was a pledge ship, a limited edition pledge ship, or limited window pledge ship. We've still got all of your pledges. You get past the P-52, and then you start seeing some cool stuff. Yeah. The 890 Jump, the On-Car, the Car Rack, the F-8 Lightning, the Herald. I mean, I could just keep going through here. The whole sea.
Can't wait for them to put a picture of the 890 Jump up. That's the luxury yacht, man. That's the luxury yacht.
Now, one of the interesting... Oh, that's right. That's our party ship, isn't it?
Yeah.
How did I forget?
With Mr. Worthington on it.
Yes.
I want Jarvis, man.
Now, the Merchantman, it was the one that I think a lot of people got really excited to hear about. Mm-hmm. Just sheer size of the hull, of its storage capacity. Its stats are very similar as far as size variant to that of the Constellation, or not the Constellation, the Idris. Now, if the Idris is, I know that the Idris has been recently overhauled. I don't know if it's if what's on the page is final yet, or as final can be. But I mean, it's granted, one's a lot bigger than the other, but not by a whole lot bigger. Yeah. When you're dealing with ships that are 1/10 of a kilometer long, 1/10 of a kilometer versus 1/20 of a kilometer, still pretty big, and they're both going to look huge in a
the Merchantman has always been designed to be a heck of a lot bigger than the Starfarer, which is what a lot of people were comparing it to. So I think the Merchantman in that regard, because it's going to carry more than what the Idris is, that's going to make it a lot more appealing for people to try and get that. But weren't you saying earlier, Thomas, that that's going to be kind of hard to get?
Well, Bobby was saying that it's going to be hard to get.
From what I understand, I've been reading that the Merchantman is going to be an extremely expensive ship that even if you can get it, is going to be fairly rare, because aren't the Banu supposed to be very hush-hush traders? Or have I read some stuff wrong?
You mean xenophobic?
Well, I don't want to go across any lines, but from what I understood, they were going to be more like isolationist, secretive. I thought maybe I've read some things inaccurately, but that's what my impression was.
I think you're right. I think they are going to kind of go the xenophobic route. I don't remember where I saw that, but and xenophobia by its very nature, for those of you that don't know, is isolationist. You're afraid of other species, xeno-species phobic fear. Latin lesson, everyone. You're welcome. So,
but looking at this though, Musashi or Misk or whatever you want to call them, they've got the Freelancer, right? And it's a long haul, but it's cargo, transport / exploration ship. But it's got a really small cargo capacity. I picked that up for trading. Now that I see how big the hold is on the Merchantman, it's like, holy crap. But right next to the Merchantman on the ship spec page is the Misk Hull C. And I'm just noticing it's a ship designed for smuggling, but its cargo capacity 200 tons, bigger than the Merchantman. So are the Japanese shipbuilders trying to outdo their new Banu counterparts?
Could be. One of the other things in here, the Kiri. What I'm going to be butchering the name on this. What is the Kiri
Kartu?
Yeah, it's got variants, and they're the only ships that have variants have been limited, pledge ships or limited time type pledge ships. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm wondering if this is going to make an appearance in the pledge realm of things.
Oh, it's one of the. Did they finalize what it was? Is it Xeon or is it Jean? The race? Did they ever figure out how they were pronouncing that? Because that's the race that these two ships or this ship belongs to, and they're
the Zion.
Yeah, that one. Did they ever? I don't know.
Well, I think that's the xenophobic race that you're talking about, because maybe if I remember right, the Banu are the ones who are the traitors. My impression was always like they were like the Ferengi from Star Trek. They always wanted to try and be in the middle of a trade route or something like that. So
I guess what I'll have to do once I get mine is go ahead and read through a Jump Point book that someone's probably showing on their webcam right now. I hate you very much. But I'll have to read through that and get all the details on all the different races.
It's being knocked around now.
Yeah, I'm gonna be looking into getting one of those pretty soon. I think they're out of the hardcover ones, but the soft cover ones, I think there were like a few left, so I better be quick.
They're out now.
Are they now? Oh, yeah. You're crushing my dreams.
I wouldn't be surprised if they're reprinted, though. I mean, it's
such a popular thing.
I mean, it's just like comic books. You might have to wait for them to hit the point where they're back cataloged, but they're going to say no to money. Like,
yeah. Well, it's funny. Like whenever I bought, of course, this is ages ago, but whenever I would buy like the collector's editions of games like WoW or whatever like that, they come with art books and lore books and stuff. I read like every word. Mm-hmm. I love those type of things, and I know I have PDF access to like all the jump points and everything, but it is so hard for me to sit in front of a computer and read like a long, almost like a book, stories and stuff. It's hard for me to do that. So getting it physically in my hands, that'd be a lot easier. I'm kind of
the exact opposite. I like to buy the log version of a book and then look at it for 5 minutes and then safely pack it away on my bookshelf and never look at it again because I want to keep it in pristine.
Yes.
Keep it in
he
pristine.
wants to touch it.
Yeah, I like to know that I have the analog book. Usually if I'm buying a book, it's because there's a significance behind it. It's not just my bestseller New York Times, novel. It's I'm going to meet the author. I'm going to, I have some sort of emotional significance to it. But I 100% absolutely prefer reading on an iPad or a Kindle versus reading a log.
That's me too. Yeah,
it's true.
I'll hold on to my copy.
It also, you also have quicker access to the content too. So, you don't have to be inconvenienced if you're out on the road or something. It's right there for you. So I prefer that too.
And the only other reason I think that I would buy an analog version of a book is for when I fly. Before they changed, the ridiculous FAA ruling. So now that I can read on every flight with my iPad, there's no reason for me to buy books anymore.
So your iPad's going to cause the plane to crash, so we need you to turn that off.
That's always been my favorite thing. A $200 plus $million airliner being brought down by an iPad. I think someone needs to go back to the drawing board and build a new $200 million airplane.
Oh, so, I'm gonna laugh my ass off if you ever get on. This is what I'm gonna do. If I'm ever having to escort you anywhere, Thomas, like if something happens in Star Citizen and you need me to take you somewhere, as soon as you get on, I'm gonna say, sir, I'm gonna need you to disable your mobiGlass while you're on board because it interferes with the electronic equipment.
God, that was so ridiculous. I can't tell you. Like, God, one flight I was on a couple years ago, I completely forgot that I had my work cell phone in my pocket, and they had done their, please turn off your cell phones and blah, 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 blah. And I'm on the plane, and my phone rings in my pocket as we're taxiing, and it's a really loud, obnoxious ring. And I swear to God, the woman next to me looked at me, and she's like, "You're going to crash this plane." And I have a baby on this plane. And then that fear of, oh my God, how do I explain to her that this isn't going to bring the plane down, but I'm actually doing something wrong?
Thank you for drinking the Kool-Aid. You've been on American Airlines today.
Yeah. Anyway, that's crazy. So, what else? We got some more news about the dogfighting module. The release date's still kind of the end of the month. I still have this sneaking suspicion it's going to be even later. I think it's going to be June.
Well, I think everybody who's going to get access to it is going to be in June. I think you're right.
Yeah, I just don't see it. I don't see GA being available in May. I don't. And I don't know why. I don't want to sound negative about it, but I don't feel it. And I'm starting to see a lot of the same Facebook posts I was seeing before the Hangar module coming out.
No, say
where
the late night meeting,
the late night meetings, the all hands on deck, the
testing at 2:30 in the morning.
Yeah, so I'm starting to see those posts again, and I'm going, yeah, the last time I saw these posts, stuff got delayed.
Well, so my thought on this is, because what you just told us earlier, Brandon, about what you read about 250,000 scares the crap out of me for this because, if I were going to launch a server, and I'm kind of, I'm an IT guy, if I were going to launch a server for that I know potentially hundreds of thousands of people are going to be playing on simultaneously, and we've never tested it with that many people. Oh my God, it's very bright in here. I would launch with like 1,000.
Yeah. Well, that
maybe.
That number though for Chris is, Chris has always been flamboyant in his projections.
This is true.
And Eric was saying on Spaceman's parking lot the other week that they're going to stagger the release is what they're doing because they're going to have a cloud-based server. And what they're going to do is have, I think it was like 100,000, he said, at most.
Thomas doesn't know where I'm going with this. Cloud-based server?
They're having... Yep.
I have heard this too.
That what they're doing, and this is complete BS. I'm just making it up. But could you imagine them working with Amazon AWS, Amazon Web Services, or Windows Azure, and just be like, okay, I know this is going to be crazy, but we're going to need you to spin up just how many servers do you have in your Redmond, Washington data center? Okay, I need all of them. Can you spin them all up at this exact moment? And what's going to happen is every pipe and every bit of your internet will go down. Can you deliver?
Well, he said it was good. Eric said this on Wingman's or Spaceman's parking lot. It's gonna be well, yeah, but he was saying when a bunch of people like Australia, log in to play the game, a server's gonna spin up there. It's like just magically. I mean, do they have a data center there, or is it Well,
they've got to be using somebody. I mean, I was kidding about AWS or Windows Azure.
I've never heard any MMO dev team say cloud-based server before.
Well, I mean, I definitely could see the draw of the cloud-based server, particularly this far out from release. If they bought all the servers they needed now, by the time the game comes out, they'd be out of date. They'd have to do a hardware refresh. So if they have a web provider, a cloud provider, I'd jump all over that for that very reason. The fact that you're just buying your time, not buying your hardware.
Yeah.
And I just don't know. I don't know of anybody who has that infrastructure in place, though. I mean, would it be Azure? Would it be AWS? Would it be Rackspace? I mean, who could provide that level of infrastructure?
Well, the thing is, a lot of people, even today, I mean, clouds. The term cloud has been around for a while, but even today, a lot of people
it's like Web 2.0.
Yeah, a lot of people are still confused or use the term incorrectly.
Exactly.
And the first thing that I thought of when he said an MMO running on cloud, like on cloud servers, was, okay, I'm playing Star Citizen. Because I have a decent connection and a decent computer, does that mean that somehow I'm going to be added as like a node? Almost
like a distributed computing type thing?
Yeah. Almost like, what is it called?
You know what?
Okay.
All right, hold on. I've got a joke, and I've got to say it before I forget.
Okay.
The only organization that I think would have the infrastructure to do this would be the NSA. NSA. So I think the NSA could spin this up. But I think that you're onto something. If we could have distributed hosting, then latency would be less of an issue. You would, in theory, if you had if depending upon the amount of bandwidth that the server requirements are. But if you're kind of noded up with people generally around you to do your business,
I'm about to get nerdy, but I mean, if they this is I hope you understand what I'm saying. If you don't, I apologize, because explaining it would take a million years. But if they used OSPF routing, open shortest path first, and let's say you're in New York and the real server is in LA, what if you went through a bunch of fast players before you got there? You know what I mean? Like, what if instead of routing straight to LA, then back to the players, and all the information was sent back and forth? What if it was like a mesh? You know what I mean?
Yeah. But then you have internet, internet service providers like Time Warner Cable and Comcast that specifically throttle peer-to-peer connections because they degrade the network. So that could see that being the only problem.
Cloud-based servers. That is.
It's got you. I want to know
what it is. I want to know what it is.
Yeah. Who's doing it? Who is providing this service? And on the second side of that, who would be crazy enough to provide this service? Because every launch of any capacity, website, Reddit, when they did the golden ticket campaign, everything crashed. We have crashed everything.
Yeah.
Not Twitch. We haven't taken Twitch down yet.
They're offering the ability for people to run their own servers. So that's kind of there. I mean, those servers are connected to the main server to get updates every so often, right? So what would be the difference in you running the client and being some sort of node on the network?
Well, the difference would be that if somebody's going through you, and let's say you're in Arkansas and you're on DSL, if you're slowing somebody else's traffic through you, even if it's one other person, that's going to be grossly inefficient for the rest of the players.
Yeah.
Because now this person who may have from Georgia a fiber connection is getting slowed down from that DSL guy.
Sure. Well, it's weird though. I can't remember what version of what I mean, because there's been like 80,000 Call of Duties, right? But there was that one or two where it would, it would do. Basically, all the people were in the lobby, but it would pick the person with the best connection to host a game. I was always that guy, So, no matter where they were from, and it was I don't know why it would always just pick me. I was always the host, and that also kind of helped me play better. But, yeah. But I wonder if it's kind of like that though. I mean, if it. I can't understand what they mean by cloud hosted servers, and other than that,
Well, I'm thinking AWS, Windows, Azure. I'm thinking it's something like that.
I agree.
But those servers,
it's got to be something.
Are those reliable? As reliable as dedicated?
Are they even in the Australian and European markets though? Because the way they were talking was that, like you said earlier, Bobby, is that if there's more demand in those areas, they're going to spin up a server magically out of thin air.
Yeah.
For those players. So does that mean that they're going to have their own localized system for that area for those players?
A node which connects them to the, you know what I mean? Like
right back to Austin or something. That's what I'm curious about.
Maybe they're doing a peering arrangement with somebody out there instead of maybe doing the hosting.
If it's not player level, it's data center level, right? So even if you're connected to Europe, you're still on the master server, which could be in Chicago or something, So
BFE or something.
Yeah, I mean, it could be on the moon. Who knows? But if they're spread all over the place, I wonder how that's going to affect latency.
Yeah,
because right now in like EVE Online, all the servers are in Reykjavik, Iceland.
Well, what they've said, what they have said is that you will be with the toggle slider thing. Any PvP encounters that you experience will be relatively close to you. That it'll be a low ping time environment.
It'll not only calculate your willingness to do PvP, but your location and everything else.
Yes. And the people you want to interact with, because you can specifically say if you want to interact with somebody on your friends list or not.
Right. And by the same token,
cool.
Yeah, and by the same token, it will. That's why he said so. There won't be region lock. So I could be in an Australian guild as an American and still play with it. My experience will probably be severely degraded because of latency, but that will be a choice that I have made to accept that as a player.
Right. And I like that, though.
I do too. I absolutely do too. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's say, Thomas, you're in London.
Okay.
And I'm here, and you're on my friends list, and we're in a party together.
Okay.
Or a wing together, or whatever, And we're going to the next system. We're going to a new waypoint. I wonder. Is it going to either spin up? Is it going to say, "Hey, well, shit, where Bobby lives, there's no servers available. So how about London? Oh no, there's nothing available.
All right. So Bobby's in Texas.
To New York.
Yeah, Bobby's in Texas. I'm in London. Maybe it calculates. Okay, well, Bobby's ping time to our Chicago server is 200 milliseconds. Thomas's ping time to our Chicago server is 400 milliseconds. Let's say, okay, if we go to New York, Bobby's is 300, Thomas's is 300. I mean,
let's spin up an instance in New York. I mean, is that what it's going to do? I mean, if it does, that's cool.
Yeah.
If it's smart enough to do that, I've never heard of that before. That would be really badass.
That would be.
And that's kind of how I've heard it described by Eric and
but who has Rob data centers like that? I mean, 1&1 has global data centers. I know. Yeah. I mean, they're in Germany. They're in New Jersey. They're diverse. I just mentioned just part of the Western world, but they're all over the place. But who really? I mean, most cloud computing companies, most are geographic. They're very they're United States based. They're European Union based. They're China based. They're South
Brazil
Pacific based.
Things like that.
Yeah, they're not necessarily global, and that has a lot to do with trade restrictions, all that type of stuff. Who are they using?
I know what's happening.
And
RS, this is conspiracy theory.
Yeah,
well, hat moment.
Drones? They're using drones.
They're gonna take a boat and park it off the coast of Australia, and then
the Google Island boats.
Yes. whenever someone in Australia wants to play Star Citizen, they connect through the boat off to La La Land, or whatever.
Wow.
Oh my god! Or drones, whatever.
Yeah,
the Google balloons.
Yeah. They so named that perfectly. The Google balloon service. They called it Loon.
Yes.
I can't think of a better.
Well, they called it what?
Loon. Like a loony bin. Loon.
That does sound good.
Is that not the perfect name for that? They're marketing people. As terrible as they are, they have good moments. But anyways, now that we lost half of our audience to a highly technical thing, let's talk a little bit about the Hangar module.
Technical thing?
Another thing. Hardware requirements and the Hangar module. We've seen the posts out there about what they're kind of expecting people to have. To play the game at a decent setting at launch, this is what they're expecting. Correct me if I'm wrong. They've said high-end Core i7, SSD, high-end, or AMD equivalent of the Core i7. I don't want to offend the AMD folks.
Well, that's all they're running in the office, pretty much,
right.
Is i7.
Yeah, right. And when we were there, Bobby, in June of last year, there were boxed Intel processors all over the place.
Yes.
So, they had just gotten, I guess they were building their workstations for new people. But anyway, so back to the specs. 7 series or 680 series, or what did he say is 670 or higher or something?
Yeah, 670.
Yeah, 670 or higher video cards on the NVIDIA side, equivalents on AMD. I don't know anything about AMD ATI. I haven't used them for years. They're wonderful. They're fantastic. I'm just Intel NVIDIA. My bad. But anyway, I have all of the above and then some. And I'm telling you, my computer struggles at full. And I'm not even playing on a 2 or a 4K monitor. Playing on a 1080p monitor, I'm struggling.
Yeah, and what are your specs, Thomas?
I have an Intel Core i7, and it's the 4770K, unlocked, overclocked, liquid cooled, at just I have the turbo on it, so it'll peak up as needed. But I could stably get around 4 gigahertz, and I'm not going crazy with it because I don't want to burn it. But I've peaked it up higher than 4. I've got extreme high overperformance RAM, 32 gigabytes of overperformed RAM. I have one of the fastest consumer available SSDs on the market. It's one of the Corsair something. It's a high end one. It was sub 1,000. And on all of the benchmarks when I bought it, it was the fastest available. And I've got 2 GTX 770s SLI, and they are overclocked. They're with their Asus cards, and they're overclocked. And playing at 1080p resolution at very high settings, it really struggles. And I don't know why it's struggling so much.
And this is just in the Hangar module.
Yeah, and this is just
because we haven't seen the dogfighting module because they've changed how the rendering system works and it's been further optimized. We haven't had a visual update since December?
Right.
And before that?
And I pulled up the dogfighting module so you guys can see it. Now, I'm sure this is like the biggest first world problem ever. People are probably going to go, "Oh my god, it runs so good on your computer as compared, to what I have." But we were exploring, and we kind of figured that we think we might have found the culprits of the slowness. So right now I'm playing in a reduced environment. I think it's 900 by 1440. And very high settings, and I don't have all my ships enabled. I haven't done any Hangar hacks, so this is just a default Hangar with as many ships as it can handle by default. Now, when I'm around individual ships, as you guys can see, smooth. It's got a little bit of hiccups, it's got a little bit of jitters, but for the most part, very, very smooth. But then when I look at certain ships, it starts to drop dramatically. And we think we've narrowed it down between the Constellation and the Freelancer. And we think that it's the Freelancer. There's something with that Freelancer that is killing the frame rates. And Bobby, you said you were experiencing the same type of a situation in your Hangar?
Yeah, for me it was some weird lighting issues with my Freelancer. When I played on maxed out settings, everything looked fine, but the frame rates were just really low. When I dropped it down to medium, there were just all kinds of weird stuff started happening.
Right, and that for me is what I thought I was doing wrong. I'm saying, well, it's because I'm playing on very high. There's got to be, maybe that the reason I'm taking these big performance hits is because I'm playing on very high. I could put the thing down on low, and I would have the same graphical bugs and glitches. Now again, alpha, we know.
Yeah, it has to be some sort of texture or lighting issue.
Yeah, I'm going to put my money on lighting because I have the same problem with the Connie. Every now and then, there's certain parts when I'm looking at it, it looks great. Then I walk away to another section, like going from the nose to the engine area.
And then you get that hiccup.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's a lighting thing because it's always consistently in that same general area. Now, the Constellation's going to CG Bot now to get another pass for PBR and a bunch of other junk for it to be updated. But when does the Freelancer go? Does anybody know?
I don't have the answer for that, unfortunately. And I switched back for just a quick second while we were talking there to let people see. And I did leave on the towel. So for those of you that were watching, that was our $42 million goal there.
How long did you spend trying to somehow beat or damage the towel?
Honestly, about 2 seconds. Because I couldn't find it. I was walking through that hangar. I hopped in my little buggy, and I'm going, where the hell is this damn towel? And I swear to you, the first time I went up to that second deck to look for it, it wasn't there. I think they were lying to us when they said, or what, that it was in game, because I didn't see it. So it wasn't until later that after Brandon had mentioned it that it was there that I was able to find it. And I did pull up again. Let me hit the magic button on the screen. Camera 6. I did pull up the calendar so people could see the calendar that was been much talked about. And this was a subscriber perk. The calendar?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So
and anybody who's a subscriber can also buy it and gift it to somebody else. So it's not just inclusive only to subscribers at this point, but even if you don't have a friend who'll do that for you, you can still buy it in the game. Still available to anybody.
I don't know why this was such a big deal. I'm more underwhelmed by this than I was about the towel. I don't
the calendar?
Yeah. I like. Am I missing something here? Are they really scraping the bottom of the barrel trying to find things for people? Like, I'm just not impressed.
Well, the thing is, right now, we're all waiting for the DFM, right?
And that could be what it is.
And there are people who are just rabid, wanting to play this. And right now, all we've got is the Hangar module. So adding, that and subscribers, are, if you read the subscriber forums, there's a lot of people who have, I'm not going to say entitled, but subscribers feel like they need more, I guess, sometimes. And I think that's why they're doing some of this stuff. It's a thank you, because to tell you the truth, they do thank subscribers every Wingman's Hangar, every
for the chairman is all subscribers.
Yeah, every opportunity that they have, they're thanking the subscribers, because
early access to events.
I just looked, and I'm not made of money, but apparently through subscribing, I'm at around $600. I'm like, holy shit, where? Yeah. I've paid $600 on this. I didn't know that.
I gotta be honest. I paid more into this with not having anything to play than I have most MMOs.
There you go. I just and I'm shocked at myself. I'm like, holy crap, So maybe that's what it is. Maybe people are realizing, holy crap, this is how much I've put into it. Where's my stuff? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that even when you're talking to just basic level subscribers or imperators, everybody feels like they're giving something. And when they give that little extra back, you always feel that sense of contribution to the whole universe, not just for yourself, but to everything. And that recognition for me is more gratifying than, like you were saying earlier, that you didn't want to say entitled, where people are saying that they need something. I don't need it. when I see this makes me feel good.
Right. The thing that kind of bothers me about the entitlement, and it's going to happen each and every, regardless of how wonderful of a person you are, at a certain point you're going to hit that. All right, well, I've waited long enough. I've given enough money. Show me something. But when we all started subscribing, our perks never mentioned anything about a calendar.
That's true.
Never mentioned anything about any of this stuff, about early access. I mean, that was never part of the deal. The deal is that you're subscribing to help the game. You might, if you subscribe for X amount of time, you'll get your name in the game somewhere. There was that infamous interview with Chris Roberts thing, but that of course that blew up and we crashed Chris Roberts, as we crash everything. But that was it. Like, that was what you were subscribing for. You weren't subscribing for gimme, I'm subscribing. The fact that I got this piece of, this log of a book here was way more than I ever thought was going to happen.
And you only paid for shipping.
Yeah, $20. $20 for a coffee table book that weighs a good 5 pounds. And it's, super high quality. I mean, this is archival quality paper. It is high quality stuff here. I can't undersell how good it is. It's made by Chinese people that are slaving away in a factory, but it's really high quality stuff. I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting my PDF vault access for Jump Point. I was expecting my private forum where I could talk to other subscribers, which I'm not a big poster on any forum, so that wasn't a selling point to me. I've been in the Chosen Gaming community for almost 3 years, and I think I've posted like 40 times. I'm not a forum person. I read them, but I don't feel like I have enough. I like the back and forth. I like to communicate by voice.
Right.
I like it to be more than just me dictating from mountain on high.
I agree.
Here's my words. Read them with caps lock. That just doesn't that means nothing to me. But that's what I subscribed for. I subscribed for I'm helping the game out, and my perks were this, and this, and I got all of that. I didn't get my Chris Roberts thing, but I've been fortunate and blessed enough, and to talk with Sandy and Ben and a couple other people on the team. That was way more than I ever anticipated getting.
Yep.
And the entitlement thing, I think, starts to kind of bother me. And I was joking about it earlier today about, well, I'm Space Marshal, I should be first one in. But that's all it is. It's joking. But you read this is the first time I've started
serious about it.
Yeah. This is the first time I'm starting to see the forums get a little nasty. The forums have always been very good. I mean, and even the nasty that we have now is nowhere near as bad as the nasty in WoW. And I don't think that sailors in prison with rapists and murderers are as bad as the forums on League of Legends. So I mean, it's really different when you compare the communities. But I think if I kind of get that feeling of shut the fuck up, stop complaining. You don't need this.
Yeah.
I think
what a lot of people are getting upset about is the wait on the DFM. And even though there was a lot of people, including themselves, saying, hey, let's wait, let's get it right, I don't think they understood the gravity of that decision based on who Chris Roberts is, and also the monumental task that they had to undertake to get to PBR. I mean, they were changing it from one thing to another, and that's not a 9 to 5 or a weekend job to do. And it's going to take months.
It's more than PBR. I mean, they talked about it.
Yeah, it is. But I think that's where that entitlement's coming from, though, is that people are now starting to feel like, hey, I've waited this long. Give me what I paid for and what you promised. And the thing is that we can't expect that everything's going to happen on a schedule.
Yep.
Because development doesn't work that way.
Right. Well, they have a development team of over 150 people. It's close to 180 people, right, in all their locations.
Yeah. Well, and that's not
like
including
it's a small team,
not including the third-party companies that they're going to for assistance as well. I wouldn't be surprised that they'd be well over 1,000. I mean, probably 1,000 is probably a stretch, but I wouldn't be shocked if they said 1,000. What was that? I'm sorry.
They also wanted to have more people in Austin, too. Yeah. But because of the restraints for not being able to get a building for, 8 months?
Yeah.
They were trying to get it. I mean, they got screwed 6 ways to Sunday, so it's not like it was for lack of effort.
Right.
They really did try, and as soon as they did it, we've been seeing new people getting hired. I think the only time I haven't seen on Wingman's Hangar is the last 2 episodes.
I mean, there's constant job postings for Sound Cream at Austin. I mean, and all over the place, frankly. I mean, so they're growing.
Tremendously.
Yeah. Well, like you were talking about with the PBR pass, it's more than that. I mean, remember when they were showcasing this back in, I think it was December or November? They showcased the first attempt at Dogfighting module and how horrible it was. And it was because of the restrictions of the version of CryEngine that they were using, that it didn't have the right level of support. So they're having to not only do a PBR pass, they're using a brand new engine of, brand new iteration, custom multiplayer iteration of CryEngine that's brand new, that hasn't had the bugs worked out of it. They had the office space limitations. They have the staffing limitations. They have teams across the globe. They have third-party sources. It's a mess of cats and rats, and they're all chasing each other, and furs flying, and it should not be shocking or surprising. How many of us have, put all the components in a computer, flick the button on the power supply, hit the power button, and nothing happened? And everything, you're like, I did everything right. I power supply, cables, and you have to take everything apart, put all the pieces back in, try it again. That's a very rudimentary example of one piece can mess up the whole thing. Yeah. Now imagine you being that one person building a computer, multiply that by hundreds of people throughout the world speaking different languages with different barriers. And then in software where it can be one character and millions of lines of code that can cause that problem. And you have to decompile and figure out where the errors is. So I think if anyone is so naive that they are complaining that it's taking longer than it should, it's rooted entirely in naivety.
My brother's that person though. My brother's that person because he wants to see the fruition of his and this is the word.
Oh, you're going to say the bad word.
Are you going to say the I word?
Investment. Yep. And even though technically it can't be considered an investment, they said from the get-go, we don't know. We can't promise exactly when it's going to happen. And they've always said, that this is going to have a chance of being delayed 6 ways this Sunday.
You're right. They've delayed once for DFM. They because what were you thinking? End of December, and now it's going to be then it was April-ish. Now it's end of May.
Well, they were going to put it out in May,
March, May, and then March, April. They got delayed to May, and
because of PAX and all that.
It's getting pushed out quite a bit, and I a lot of people were like me. I was expecting. I think we talked about this in one of our previous episodes when they delayed it for the first time. I was expecting to go to places like Reddit and the forums and just see people up in arms. Oh, blah, 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 didn't see any of that. And if if it was there, it was buried somewhere because over people talking about the game itself and just being happy and normal in general. But now it's starting to pick up.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that has to do with the size of the community.
Yeah. Oh, that's man.
You add more people into the community, it gets a little bit crazy.
Yep.
But I mean, like I said, it's got to be expected, and if you don't know that going in, educate yourself on software building.
Yeah,
just open up a book on Basic, and then finish that book on Basic and go to C# or C, and then you'll realize that holy crap, I thought I had a grasp of it, and then it just goes into crazy town.
Yep.
Well, want a great idea on how much it takes to build an asset. Look at the next grade Starship. Look at everything from day one to now. I mean, they've done tremendous work, but even they're still being critiqued on even little detail that if it got released in that way, people would be up in arms because they wouldn't like it. So that's the process. That's what the people are demanding. That's a really good
example.
Yeah, and because people are demanding it, Chris is going to give it. And just because we can't see behind the curtain as much as we like, we just got to give him the latitude.
In that example that you brought up, for the next great Starship, that's got to happen in office too. You've got all the concept artists drawing ships that are just getting thrown out. They're spending days and days and days, designing things that are just like, nope, next.
Look at the constellation for Jump Point.
Yeah.
And
how many versions of it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's like 6 of them in like 2 pages.
Yeah.
And
perfection.
So, exactly.
I mean, it's very interesting to see how everything is being torn apart and how everyone's getting into it. And I think the key is patience. And I think a good example of I'm going to use 2 companies that are unrelated to Star Citizen to give you an idea of doing it the right way and doing it the wrong way. I'm first going to give you an example of doing it the right way. And everyone, it's easy to dog on this company now because of how big they've gotten, but Blizzard, they tend to do things the right way. They make mistakes from time to time, and they've made more mistakes recently than they have in the past. But Blizzard has developed games pretty much to the point of they're ready to go gold. They're ready to go to manufacturer and said, this doesn't feel right. Let's scrap it. StarCraft Ghost being an example of that.
Diablo 3.
Yeah, this isn't working. We need to start over and do it right. And then you look at a game like a company like EA. EA has the exact opposite mentality. It is all these great things we want to do. Let's make it happen. All right, so
BioWare, you guys are doing a really good job on this game. You've got a month.
BioWare Austin, you need to put a game out this quarter because our shareholders are expecting sales numbers this quarter. So all the projects you have on the slate to make the game playable that you got from your player conference where you listen, your guild summit where you listen to people and say, oh my gosh, yes, we need to make these changes. Scrap that. Start over. And then you look at the success of the 2 companies. Both of them had great IPs. One of them had Star Wars. One of them had Warcraft. One of them had StarCraft. And then and Diablo. And which ones are more successful? How many people are playing one versus the other? Which one has the better game than the other? I mean, these comparisons make themselves. So you have to give them the time to do it right. And that's why I'm so glad there's no one pulling those purse strings at an EA telling them to make this happen.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that we have to decide as a community what kind of company we want. And I am proud to say that there are a lot of people, I'm not going to say beating the naysayers down, but they are objectively saying, get over it.
Yeah.
Because they said
and they were very clear when Indiegogo does this and what's Kickstarter, they do this. You are not an investor.
Yeah.
You have no ownership.
Yeah.
You are a backer. You are a fan.
Yeah.
You are a supporter. You are not an investor.
It's a pre-order.
Right.
And in many cases, it's not even that. You know, so, and there's this, I think one of the states, district attorneys is suing, I think it was a Kickstarter campaign where this guy took, several $100,000s and has not delivered any of his product yet. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news. If anybody reads the terms of service when they donate money, tough take. Like
a donation's a donation, right?
A donation, when you back them, you're not an owner. You're not guaranteed anything. Yep. And it sucks to be you. That's why you've got to do as much vetting and research as possible. But sometimes you just lose. It's almost, at this point, it's almost a gamble. And even now with Star Citizen, it's still a gamble. I mean, there is no guarantee that we're going to get anything remotely close to what we're being promised. It's not a guarantee. I don't care what anyone says. It's not a guarantee. We have all taken a jump and a risk because we believe in Chris Roberts and his vision to make this game happen. But it's not guaranteed. At any given moment, Chris Roberts could get in a car accident tomorrow, heaven forbid, knock on wood, and the game may not be delivered in the sense that what we were hoping it would be delivered. And it's not CIG's responsibility to make every individual backer happy and to give every individual backer exactly what they want. It's CIG's job to deliver Chris Roberts' vision with the funds that the backers have given CIG to make Chris Roberts achieve his vision. And that's exactly how you should look at it when you're pledging or when you're buying ships, that you're buying an asset in the game that when it's released, that's what you will get. What you're really doing is supporting CIG, which will make Chris Roberts' vision come true. Yeah. And that's all. And you're supporting the vision. You're not getting a delivered vision. You're supporting the vision. Yeah. And if you anticipate or you demand anything more than that, I think you're overstepping your boundaries.
Well,
amen, Brother Thomas.
Yeah, and I will certainly say that out of all the Kickstarters I have ever seen, Star Citizen is the most transparent.
Yep.
That they give you the most information. So I feel better making that donation with them than I would anybody else. And that's part of the reason why I jumped on too. Because I did do the research.
I've still said from the beginning what I would love is for them to have, and not in every area of the office, but some of their conference rooms, just a camera that's linked up to Twitch 24/7 that's just always running. And the developers know, or the designers and engineers working on the game, when I walk in this room, I'm being streamed, and everything that I say, everything that we discuss will be out there. But how good would it feel as a subscriber, as a backer, or as someone interested in the game, having that always-on window to what is happening?
And then every once in a while, someone like Rob walks by the camera. It's like, "Oh, hey guys, by the way, we're doing this."
Yeah, I mean,
surprise!
I just think I would love that. So, and I think I've heard that on other podcasts as well. So your fans want it. So anyone at CIG, if you're listening, and I know some of them are, put those cams up in the main conference rooms and just stream them 24/7.
Or even just outside in the rec area. Give us something.
Yeah, and I think a lot of this would be alleviated. I think what people saw a very specific, exacting scenario with very specific, exacting events at PAX. It was a very limited experience, but what they saw, while unpolished, was amazing. And people are going, well, why can't I have that experience now? I saw it at PAX, but what you didn't see at PAX was 200,000 people trying to log in at the same time, 200,000 different ships being flown at the same time from different locations in the world. So they're going, well, why don't I have that?
Going down.
Yeah. So they're. I think that's why some people are going, well, it's baked. I saw it. You showed me a finished product. I ate it like brownies. I'm ready for it. Where is it?
And it's like a souffle. You don't just touch it when it comes out of the oven.
So I think that's why some people are starting to get frustrated with it. And like I said, I understand it, but I don't think it's necessary at this point. Right. I mean, if we don't get the dogfighting module until August, I'd be okay. I mean, I'm not going to lie, I'd get pissed, but I'd be okay. Like, it's
Well, I think what they're doing is right. They're going to give people, they're going to progressively get people into it. They're going to make sure that it's a reliable, sustainable for the numbers that they want, and then they're going to open it up for more people and push the envelope. And that's how they're going to do it. And I think that's the best course of action. So I'm just waiting to get my invite. That's all I care about. It can be a week. It can be 4 weeks. I don't care, as long as it's done right.
Yep. So I guess that's really it for this episode. We've got the Next Great Starship wrapping up at the end of this. Well, at the beginning of June, it's wrapping up.
And both of you guys are going to that, right?
Yeah, I'm going, and Brandon's going, so we'll be there. I'm in and out journey. Like I'm there. I literally get there at the butt crack of dawn on Saturday, and will leave the butt crack of the evening on Saturday. So I will be there for that event and that event only. But that's exciting. Other than that, I don't really see anything too major on the calendar coming up. You guys have anything else?
Hopefully by the next episode, fingers, toes, everything crossed, maybe we'll have a DFM.
Or at least a date.
And we'll be able to stream it too, so maybe we could get a game going with you guys in there. That would be fun.
I will lose badly.
Well, I've been pretty impressed. I was actually streaming this entire episode, and I looked at my dropped frames. I had 0 dropped frames this entire episode on my live stream.
What?
That never happens. So I'm very excited. Perhaps
your internet's behaving.
I know.
Maybe someone at Time Warner is a BK147 fan.
If you are, roll out the 100 megabits per second in Golden Triangle, Beaumont, Texas market. So I'll test it for you. If you want to roll a gigabit too, I'll take that.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I'll let you right in the front door. I'll even take off work. We can set it all up. We can test it.
Don't forget he's getting you lunch too. So Time Warner, hook him up.
Yeah, I've bought lunch for several people. Come on in. We'll take care of it. So, all right, guys. Well, I'm checking out for the evening. I'm done. Bobby, how are you? Are you good?
Good. Very good.
Brandon, you're good?
I think we got everything covered.
All right. Well, I definitely want to say, guys, continue to watch videos and keep our podcast subscription going. And I cannot stress enough how important those video versions are of these shows. We are all about video, and our audio stream is definitely there and will continue to be there. But make sure that you are commenting, and subscribing on YouTube, subscribing on the iTunes. And we're going to start becoming more and more active in the social media front. So I know some people have been asking for, well, what do you do on the Facebook and the Twitter and the YouTubes and the Your Faces and all this other stuff? So that'll be coming in time. As you all know, as I've said, I'm not big on forums and things like that, but every now and again there's an Easter egg in the video, and I recommend watching those videos just for the enjoyment of those things. All right, well, this is Thomas.
We have to thank our guest director too.
Yeah, this episode was directed by how do we want to phrase this? Being sci-fi people, we are all very excited about certain films and certain directors, and being the fact that we're having JJ Abrams direct the new Star Wars films, we decided to ask JJ Abrams to be our director for this film. So if you were watching the video, you might have noticed from time to time certain JJ Abrams style effects. And on that note, I'd like to let everyone know that we have all been reporting from Purgatory.